Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Heather Forgan of stampwithnellie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. And for today's project I am using the Unbounded Love stamp set and the coordinating dies. Love this set. I've got some of the dies out to use. I'll show you them in a moment. But lots of lovely frames and foliage to accent your sentiments, and there's a ton of them on this stamp set. So there's 25 stamps in total, and great to mix and match for on the outside and then maybe something on the inside as well, or putting them both together. But yeah, so also using the Unbounded Beauty Designer Series paper, which is simply gorgeous, and it uses all, I think, of the 2024 to 26 in colours, but there are some other colours in there as well. So we've got Berry Burst, Calypso Coral, Peach Pie, Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink, Pretty Peacock, Shy Shamrock and Summer Splash. That's a tongue twister and a half, isn't it? But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And it's not all flowers, as you can see. There are some kind of just abstract texture blobs kind of things as well. Stunning paper. I wasn't going to buy it until I saw lots of projects with it, and then here you go. It's in my craft room. So this is what I have made, and I'm going to make another one to show you how to do it. So it's kind of styled like a little book, and do that gorgeous Pretty in Pink ribbon, and then I've got a little bit more of the Designer Series paper complementing the one that I've used on the outside, on the inside, and then open that up and you've got a couple of tea lights in both sides. Really pretty, quite impressive, but actually quite simple to do. You've just got two boxes and a little cover, and there we go. So you could alternatively do it as a little treasure chest type thing. So depending on which way around you want to do it, you would adjust how you stamp your sentiment, and I can get that tied, how you arrange your bow. So on this one I've arranged it that way. This time I would play about with it still, but when I had it the other way, I had it that way, if you know what I mean. So this will be the class that I send to my team. I'm going to change up. So these are the dies that I used from Unbounded Love. So we've got these little ones that do that little bit of decoration there, and then that stitched circle one for the sentiment. Okay, so when I send the class or the kit in the mail, then my team will get bits like that. Okay, now as always you'll get measurements and product lists in my blog post supporting this video. There's a link to that in the description below. But let's get cracking and make another one. So we have 3 pieces of card that need to be scored. I'll do the cover first. So this piece measures 5 1/8 by 3 1/2. Okay, and I'm scoring that on the long side at 1 3/4 and 3 3/8, which is there, or you can just whiz it around and do 1 3/4 again. Okay, Then you've got 2 pieces for the boxes that go inside. They both measure 5 1/4 inches by 5 1/4. So we're going to do both of these pieces exactly the same. So on one side you're scoring at 1 5/8, then 2 3/8, and then at 4 inches and 4 3/4. Twist that around, and then you're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, at 4 inches and 4 3/4. Okay, so I'm just going to whiz through and do the second one of them. 1 5/8, 2 3/8, 4 inches, 4 3/4, spin that around, 3/4 of an inch, 4 inches and 4 3/4. Okay, that's all the scoring done. So let's work on the cover first of all. So we've got 3 pieces of designer series paper to fit on there, but we also want to make sure that we've got our ribbon in place before we stick that paper on. Okay, so the designer series paper for the cover, we've got one that is 1 1/2, sorry, we've got 2 that are 1 1/2 by 3 1/4, and I've got one that's 1 3/8 for the spine by 3 1/4. Okay, and I cut them from one piece so the pattern goes on, but I'm not sure if I've got them in the right order. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to use some tearing tape. I need 2 pieces of that. And I've got my ribbon. Just use that to glue, stick that in place for now. Okay. And then our designer series paper will go over that and it'll keep it a bit more sturdy as well. I'm going to take the backing off so that there's an extra little bit of help for that designer series paper to stick. And then I have a new bottle. Let's see if it wants to play. Oh, so used to a bottle that was nearly empty that I had to squeeze 11 daylights out to get some glue, and this one comes running out to play. So I'm just making sure I've got an even-ish border between the score lines and the edges before I put these down. Okay. Just line that up between the score lines and the top and bottom edge, and our last piece. If you had a very noticeable pattern, you know, a sort of scene, then you would want to make sure that you cut them and put them in order. I think that I've got those 2 round the other way, but for this paper, really doesn't matter. Oh, wrong thing. There it is. Okay, so that is our cover. We can just give that a little press. Get my bone folder. Okay, that is all we need to do with that bit just now, but we will add some decoration as well. Let's now do the construction of the 2 inner boxes. Okay, again, these will be absolutely identical. So just fold and burnish all of those score lines in both directions. Fold that down, that in. That, okay. Just do exactly the same on the other one. Right, I now want to do some cutting. So I've got it with the 2 horizontal lines at the top and just 1 at the bottom there. Okay, put that one out of the way just now. And I'm just going to cut up those vertical score lines to that bottom horizontal line all the way along. Like so. And I'm going to take that one off completely with a little wedge on my tab here. And I'm going to fold the 2 rectangles out of the way and just chop a little bit off either side of these 2 square tabs. All right. And then for the top piece, again, I'm going to cut down from the top to the first and then the second horizontal score line. And I'm going to take those 2 little bits off completely. And I'll cut 1, 2 score lines. Same all the way along. 1, 2, 1 and 2. Okay, now for this one I want to take, I'll just fold all of them out the way so you can see what I'm doing. Chop that top bit off along with the score line and take a little wedge off either side of those. And we're going to do the same with this narrow one. Take that top piece off, then cut into there. Okay, and on this last one, I'm leaving the top piece because that needs to tuck in to close our box, and I'm just taking off a very slim wedge either side of that. And then this one, we tuck all of those away. That needs to come off completely. Okay, so I'm going to cut right along that score line there to there. Okay, and it now looks like that. We've got our piece of designer series paper to sit on, and it's going to go on that front panel that doesn't have anything left up the top there. Okay, so again, just centering that on there, and this piece measures 3 inches by, I haven't written it down, but I think it was 1 3/8. Yep, 1 3/8. I forgot to make a thumb notch for my box, so I will show you how to do that later on in the video. So don't assemble your box until you've seen that part. Make the box, I need to put some glue along that side tab there. And if you feel that you've got it too heavy-handed, then you can use the bit that you just cut off as a little bit of a glue spreader, like that. and then put that bit in the bin. Okay, fold that over, and then fold that over. That should line up perfectly. Give it a little bit of a press with your bone folder. And I like to do it from the other direction as well. Okay, so that's how your box is now. To make the base, I'm folding the bit from the back forward. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the inside of both of those tabs and bring them in, and then I've got glue all over that bit and bring that round. Use my bone folder, make sure it's okay, and I forgot to do the notch. What a silly Nelly. And that's not going to fit in there now. I have to cheat with this on this one, but I'll show you what I did and what I should have done with the other one using this heartfelt hexagon. Okay, so I'm just gonna do my cutting on this, put my designer series paper on, and I will do that bit before I start building this one. Okay. Here's what I should have done before I made up the first box. Fold all of those bits away. And again, if you do have a 1/2 inch punch, then feel free to use it, as I did with this one. But if you don't, this is a current punch that you can purchase from my online shop. And what I'm trying to do here is centre the outside lines between those two score lines there and there, and then just ease it back. So I'm just taking a little nick out of that designer series paper. Pop. And then slide it back out again. And there you go. We have a little notch there using the heartfelt hexagon punch, as I should have done with that one. So I'll just go back and quickly assemble this. I have my 2 boxes. I can just slide in my tea lights. Now these tea lights are probably a little bit shallower than most, but I've given plenty of room in there so that you can get chunkier ones in as well. Okay, fold that, and that flap there just tucks in, hopefully nice and neatly. I've got that right. There we go. There we are. And these are now ready to be glued into our cover. We do also need to do a little bit of stamping for the front. I've just used the Just For You, and I'm going to do the same again. But to complement the designer series paper here, I am using Calypso Coral. I'm just inking that up. Obviously, when I send this to my team, I can't give them, I can't stamp images for them. I just need to hope that they've got something that will fit in the die cut that I am allowed to send them, like that. Okay. So give me a second and I will die cut that. I have already used these two dies and cut from Calypso Coral and Peach Pie card. So we'll use them for decoration too. Back in just a second. Okay, we have all our pieces. We just need to put them together. So we have these two boxes. They're identical, so it doesn't really matter which glues. That's one. I need to get rid of that one. Stop confusing myself. They're identical, so it doesn't matter which way round you do them, but you will need to put a fair bit of glue on to the back. Okay. When I was making this box, I actually glued that down with a tiny gap to the score line on the right. Actually, it looks much neater if you put your box right up to that score line and have a bigger gap at the edge on the left there. But try and make sure that you've got an equal gap top and bottom. And then add glue to the second one and do exactly the same. So instead of leaving a little gap on the left-hand side to the score line, butt that right up to the score line instead. Give it a moment, and then that should fold up nice and neatly, ready for you to tie your bow. Okay. I'm giving everybody plenty of ribbon so that they can make sure that they're happy with how their bow goes before they trim the ends off. Come on. I don't want to pull it too hard because I don't want to put too much stress on that bit there. That's better. It's slightly off to the side, but you get the idea. Right, so we've got that. Now, as I say, there's two dies here and they look the same, but they go the opposite way. Okay, so I've got one Peach Pie to go that way. I've got a Calypso Coral to go that way. And then I want a Calypso Coral. Should have cut it again. I did want a Calypso Coral to go the other way, but I'm just going to use that one anyway. Right. So let's just put a little bit of glue. Could be tricky with a brand new bottle. Just putting little dabs on there, and then I do have a cocktail stick. Definitely want to have a little dab at the top. Just spread that out. Or you could use that piece of card we used earlier. So, stuck it to me. Let's pop that. Got more glue on me than I've got in the box now, I think. So difficult when you've just, literally just opened a bottle of glue. And this glue's super tacky, which is great when you've got it in the right place. And from there to there, so they do overlap a little bit, but that's going to be on the sentiment, underneath the sentiment rather. And then a little bit on this one too. Probably should have used my fine tip glue bottle. I actually dropped a container of cocktail sticks onto the floor and thought, well, I can't use them for food. They now live in my craft room, so they're super handy. Right, let's get the glue off my fingers. There, and then I want dimensionals. So 2 will be plenty on this. Take off the backings. And pop that on there. And then I've got some of the In Colour resin dots. Obviously, on this one I used Pretty in Pink and Petunia Pop, and I'm just going to use these ones. Our Peach Pie. Although I do think it's a little bit more yellow. And I'll go for another big one down in here. Like that. There we have it. I hope you like this tutorial. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Give me a like. If you're new to my channel, please make sure that you click on the subscribe button, click the bell and get a notification the next time I upload a tutorial. Until then, please do take care. Bye-bye.